What's up guys, Ame here with another video. TBC is chock full of quality of life improvements that will make your day-to-day gameplay a million times better. And in this video, we'll be going over all of these changes that you can look forward to going into TBC. Let's get into it. Alright, first off, let's take a look at PvP gear. PvP gear and rewards were massively time gated in Classic WoW, and if you wanted the really good items, well, you had to be ready to sink an insane amount of time into Battlegrounds in order to get that gear. Gear was obtained through the PvP rank you achieved and then bought with gold, and those ranks required more and more time to get as you got higher. In TBC, these PvP ranks are done away with, and Battleground gear is purchased through an honor currency you earn just for participating in Battlegrounds and marks of honor that you get for playing in specific Battlegrounds. Once you have enough honor and marks of honor, you can buy the gear that you want, no PvP rank required. This opens the door for a much more casual PvP experience and lets people enjoy Battlegrounds and get the rewards without selling their soul to the grind for months on end. Now on the other side of the PvP spectrum, we have arenas. I did an in-depth guide into how arenas work in another video, which I'll link below, so I won't spend a ton of time here. But arena gear is very good and is accessible to anyone that wants it in the early seasons. There are 4 seasons in arenas, and in season 3 and 4, they implemented a rating system in which you had to be a high enough rating in order to buy certain pieces. But in seasons 1 and 2, everything is up for grabs, and some of this gear is the best in slot for both PvP and PvE. So make sure you get your hands on these pieces. Like I said, I did a much more in-depth guide on arenas and how the gearing works, so catch that link below if you want to hear more about that. Blizzard also introduced a really cool feature onto gear in TBC known as gem slotting. On some gear in TBC, you will see that they have colored sockets on them, either red, yellow, or blue. In these sockets, you can place gems that increase certain attributes on your character, such as spell power, bonus healing, bonus crit, you name it. Hand in hand with gem slotting is Jewelcrafting, a new profession in TBC that allows the crafter to take uncut gems and cut them into a higher quality gem. Uncut gems can be found out in the world either through mining, looting chests, or off of bosses in heroics. You can straight up use these gems in your gear if you want to, or take them to a jewel crafter and have them made into something better. Low level cut gems can also be bought off of vendors throughout Outlands, and epic quality gems can be bought off of PvP quartermasters with honor and arena points. Once you obtain your gems and slot them into your gear, you will notice that these pieces of gear also have a socket bonus that can be activated if you match the same color gem to the colored gem sockets. So if I have a piece of gear with a red and blue socket, and I place the correct color gems in those sockets, I'll unlock the socket bonus slot. One thing to note is that if you don't care for the socket bonus, you do not have to match the gem color to the socket. You can just take the best gems you want and forfeit the bonus. Along with red, yellow, and blue gems, there are also orange, green, and purple gems. These gems carry different attribute bonuses than their red, yellow, and blue counterparts, and they can be placed in either of the colored sockets that make them up to activate the socket bonus. So for example, if I have an orange gem, I can place it in a red or yellow socket and still have it count towards the bonus. There is also a meta socket that can be found on certain headpieces. The only gems that can fit in these sockets are meta gems, and these gems are massive, giving a crazy amount of stats. Meta gems have an extra feature to them in that they need to be activated. What this means is that meta gems will only give you the stats they come with if you meet the requirement listed on it. For example, if I want to use this mystical Skyfire diamond, which has a chance to increase spell cast speed, I need to have more blue gems than yellow gems in the rest of my gear. Gems and jewel crafting add a little extra spice to gearing in TBC and opens the door to a lot of different playstyles. Sticking with gear, next up we have tier tokens. Now Ame, you may say, we had those in Classic and AQ40 and Nax. These are nothing new. Well, in Classic we did have tier tokens for tier 2.5 in AQ40 and tier 3 in Nax Ramus, but these tokens had some annoying extra requirements that came with them. These weren't like other pieces of loot in raid that drop and you just get the piece of loot. For the tier 2.5 loot, you had to not only get the tier token drop, but you needed these idols and scarabs that randomly dropped in AQ40 from mobs or from chests, and those chests were locked and you had to find the keys to open them. And then you had to have a certain reputation level, and only then could you turn all of this stuff in for your one piece of loot. In Nax, it was a little better. There wasn't a reputation requirement, but with your tier token, you had to turn your gear in with scraps that dropped in knacks, as well as a mixture of arcanite bars, cured rugged hides, mooncloth, and nexus crystals, making this gear pretty expensive to get. Insert TBC. When you go into a raid and you win a tier token, all you have to do is take a tier 4 or tier 5 token to a vendor in Shatrath, or your tier 6 token to a vendor in Mount Hyjal or Black Temple, and boom, you get your piece of gear, no strings attached. On top of this, tier gear also comes in every specialization for your class. So if you're a priest, you can get tier gear for both your holy spec and shadow spec. Unlike classic where everything was just healing and tier gear was useless for shadow. This takes us right on into our next topic. In TBC, all the meme specs from classic are now viable. Rot Pallies turn into great tanks with the addition of an AoE taunt. Barrels are incredible hybrid specs that can step in as a third tank and DPS when not needed. Ret Pallies can actually do damage and bring great utility in the form of blessings to raid. Shadow Priests are coined as mana batteries with the addition of Vampiric Touch, giving party members mana back equal to 5% of their damage dealt. The list goes on and on. TBC is classic WoW perfected when it comes to class options. Obviously there's the min-maxers, and Hunter and Destruction Locks are the best DPS classes, but you can pretty much play whatever you want and be able to find a spot in groups. On the topic of groups, a great quality of life improvement in TBC is the Looking for Group tool in Summoning Stones. In the Looking for Group tool, you can pick multiple things to group up for, but its main use being a dungeon finder. You can choose to queue up for a normal or heroic dungeon, and then anyone looking for that dungeon as well can shoot you an invite and you're good to go. Of course, on the other side, if you need one more person in your group, you can check out the dungeon finder and invite anyone on the list of the dungeon you're looking for. This tool is a nice little feature that you can use with the Looking for Group channel. You can just throw yourself in queue for one of the dungeons and continue doing whatever you're doing while waiting for your dungeon. Along with the Looking for Group tool are Summoning Stones, what once were meeting stones in Classic. Those big stone monoliths outside of dungeons that serve no purpose in Classic are actually useful in TBC. If you have 2 party members at a Summoning Stone, you can summon the other 3 members of your party straight to the instance, no need for a Warlock. Summoning Stones are a great addition to TBC and helps those slackers that sit in Shatrath for a little bit too long get to the dungeon. Happen to join a dungeon group and nobody's at the Summoning Stone? Don't worry, just hop on your flying mount and you'll be there in no time. Once you reach the level cap of 70 in TBC, you'll be able to buy your expert riding and artisan riding skills. Expert riding will cost you 800 gold and allows you to purchase and ride normal flying mounts for 100 gold. These mounts run at 100% speed on the ground and fly at 60% speed. Artisan riding will cost you 5,000 gold and allow you to purchase and ride epic mounts for 200 gold. These mounts run at 100% speed on the ground and fly at 280% speed. There are some special mounts such as Ashes of Alar and the Gladiator PvP mounts that fly even faster at 310% move speed. Flying mounts are a hot topic on if they actually improve the quality of the game, but I'm biased because 1, I think they look awesome, and 2, I love getting places fast and flying wherever I want to. Next up, we have Badges of Justice. Badges of Justice are tokens that drop in raids and heroic dungeons, which are just the normal dungeons at a harder difficulty. Badges of Justice open the door to another way to get gear in TBC, and some of this gear is actually really good, landing in some best in slot places in some phases. More badge gear is also added as the TBC phases progress, meaning that the need to grind badges will always be there to get better loot. This is a huge step up from Classic because once you start raiding in Classic, there really isn't any reason to ever go back to a dungeon, and that aspect of the game is pretty much over. Whereas in TBC, there is always a reason to be in heroic dungeons. You can do each heroic dungeon once a day, so you'll be able to farm badges whenever you want, and there will be a ton of people looking for groups. These badges also drop in raids, so even if you don't get a loot drop in a raid, you're still working towards some high quality epic loot. Last but not least is probably my favorite addition that's being added in TBC, the Guild Bank. Right now we run our Guild Bank through a tab in Discord where people can request items they need, and then one of the officers will log on to one of his alt characters, which serves as the Guild Bank, to check and see if we have the item. There are some add-ons that sort of function as a Guild Bank for Classic. They require a lot of hands-on use and everyone needs to participate in order for it to work. The Guild Bank edition in TBC is hands down the biggest quality of life upgrade in my opinion. It is located in any bank in any of your faction cities and is accessible by every member of the guild. You have the option to purchase up to 6 tabs of bank slots, each of these having 98 slots, meaning your guild bank can have a whopping 588 slots total. The guild bank can also hold gold, and there are logs that keep track of everything that's been deposited and withdrawn, and by who, gold and items alike. The guild leader will also be able to customize guild bank tabs and put caps on how many items guild members can withdraw a day, and even make some tabs completely private. There is also the option to allocate guild funds to repair bills. The guild leader can set aside a daily gold amount that people can use to repair their armor. So whenever a guild member goes to someone to repair their gear, they will get the option to pay for repairs from guild funds up to the withdrawal limit. Bonus quality of life improvement here at the end is no more world buffs. Say goodbye to the hours and hours it takes to get world buffs, only to have someone pull an extra trash pack 30 minutes into the raid and wipe the group. In TBC, you will be able to log on a couple minutes before raid time, get your minimal consumables in order, and pop on over to the raid portal. This change alone has me dreaming sweet, sweet dreams of better days, where I will be able to play my character whenever I please and have the same damage or healing output regardless if the raid wipes. There you have it, guys. Tons of quality of life updates coming in TBC. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot and I greatly appreciate it. I'm also live on Twitch throughout the week. Come hop on the TBC hype train with us. What updates are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comment section below. If I missed any updates, let me know that as well. That's it for me today though, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.